Hey, boys and girls. Today we're going to continue on with our third body paragraph. And our topic today of our mini lesson is once again going to be focused around reasoning, which, if you're finding this kind of challenging as we're discussing it in class, then I think you're thinking about it right. Because for me personally, I think reasoning is the hardest and most complicated skill to be able to include in your writing, especially when you're trying to include lots of facts and lots of knowledge to try to persuade someone. So, and that's truly what we're doing. At the end of the day, we have to keep that in mind. We're trying to convince someone else of our opinion. And so, facts are great, but we have to make sure that we're taking the time to explain to the reader why and how our facts are helping, are representing what we're trying to say, what they're trying to say to the reader. So I'm going to pull up my third paragraph, which I've already taken the liberty of writing. And wow, I was feeling pretty good about this. And I'm just going to hit pause. And I'm going to pause it and I'm going to ask you to pause. And I want you to read through this paragraph. And then I want you to jot down one or two things that you think I'm missing or I could work on, or a critique of any form. Now, I gotta say, it seems pretty well written. So I'm really getting down to the nitty gritty here when I'm having these mini lessons, and I'm really asking you for a lot. I'm asking you to dig deep. So go ahead and read through this and tell me, what do you think is missing based upon what we've been talking about thus far? Go ahead and pause now, please. I hope when you were reading through that, you were able to come up with a couple ideas of what I could do to improve this paragraph. I'm going to start by reading it to you really quickly and just see how it reads and see what stands out to me. So to begin with, I've written, battery improvements in electric vehicles have made them easier and easier to use. Clear, concise topic sentence. We know this is going to be about batteries. For example, Reference Point Digital found that new improvements in batteries are making them safer by replacing flammable liquid electrolytes with non-flammable ceramic material. In fact, researchers at Stanford University invented a sensor designed to shut down the battery before it can overheat, and it will restart the battery once it's cooled. Tesla reports that gasoline cars are now 11 times more likely to catch fire than an EV. Lastly, in the article, The Road to an Electric Future by Vivian Bew states that there are now over 50,000 charging stations across the nation. Wow, I have evidence. Let's see, this right here is my first piece of evidence. Then I go on to those researchers at Stanford University and the shutdown. That's a third piece of evidence. And I stated the source, Tesla. Okay, 11 times more likely if you have a gas engine. Third evidence. And then the road to an electric future, 50,000 charging stations. My goodness, that gives me 4 facts. But know what? If you answered reasoning, you are right. I haven't I just spewed a bunch of facts and I didn't actually take the time to write to anyone as though I'm trying to convince them that electric vehicles are better. So I need to think about two things that I can do here. The first would be I could incorporate reasoning throughout this paragraph wherever I find it most helpful. The second would be I could incorporate reasoning, but maybe lay off on some of the facts too. Maybe I want to get rid of one so it's not so preachy, like because when you read fact after fact after fact, it kind of goes over my head and I stop really paying attention. So I do like the fact that they're talking about replacing flammable materials with non-flammable materials, and you're going to laugh at me, but the fact that they're using terms I'm not fully familiar with, like I've heard of people talk about liquid electrolytes, and certainly know what a ceramic material is, but they sound really professional and they sound really convincing. So I might use that. I think I'm going to try for the double whammy where I'm going to get rid of one piece of information and add some reasoning. The first piece of reasoning, please forgive me, but I'm going to start with what I personally think is the easiest. And I think the easiest piece of reasoning to add here would be that last statement. There are over 50,000 charging stations across the nation. What does that tell us? That tells us that it's now easier and easier to find a charging station. So I'm just going to write that. It's now much easier to find a charging station when you are out driving or when you need one, when a driver needs one. Okay, that's what that fact was telling me. Instead of me using Tesla's fact, I think I might get rid of it. Because personally, you're going to laugh at me again, I don't know how much I trust Elon Musk telling me something right now. Tesla, yeah, I don't know if I want to go with that. So, in fact, researchers at Stanford University invented a sensor designed to shut down the engine. Okay. This shows that an EV is much safer today than in the past. Okay, so I've shared how the batteries are getting better and they're making it easier to use. I've shared that there's more and more charging stations to use the battery. There was one other piece of information that I could have used too about charging batteries. I think I'm just going to leave this. So now I might want to consider one concluding statement and then I'm going to be done. So much easier to find a charging station when a driver needs one. Finally, electric vehicles are what's another word for easier? That's what I'm trying to think of. Are easier than ever to use. Simpler. Okay. There I've completed my third paragraph. So before we move on to our introduction and our conclusion, today I want you again to just be focused on, am I including reasoning, where I'm explaining to the reader, here's why my information is important and why you should listen to it, okay? I'm going to sign off here. Good luck with your third paragraph today.